Hiya, it's Veronica, your artist and imaginator here at Shaboo Prints, and welcome back to the Shaboo Prints Artist Studio for our weekly uplift, our weekly Shaboost. And I can use a little help. I'm trying to get creative, and I think I'm in a bit of a block. Yeah, I don't care who you are. You come across some creative blocks. And even though creativity is my thing, when I am required to produce, and especially with timelines and pressures, I can get blocked, and a lot of that is all in my head. So I have really kind of been struggling on a particular project, but I know that I'm pushing and pushing from my mind, and my creativity comes from my heart. And one of the ways that I know that I am using my mind too much is that I start to literally get a headache when I do my work. So I was going on YouTube and looking for some interesting talks on creativity. I came across one that I would love to share with you guys, and it's by John Cleese, the comedian, brilliant comedian, famous for being in Monty Python and some other British sitcoms that are just superb. You'll know him when you see him, and so I just wanted to share a few snippets of that with you now.
For me to talk about creativity is that it simply cannot be explained. It's like Mozart's music or Van Gogh's painting or Saddam Hussein's propaganda. It is literally inexplicable. However, there is one negative thing that I can say. And it's negative because it's easier to say what creativity isn't. A bit like the sculptor who, when asked how he had sculpted a very fine elephant, explained that he'd taken a big block of marble and then knocked away all the bits that didn't look like an elephant. Now, here's the negative thing. Creativity is not a talent. It is not a talent. It is a way of operating. You see, when I say a way of operating, what I mean is this. Creativity is not an ability that you either have or do not have. It is, for example, and this may surprise you, absolutely unrelated to IQ. Provided you're intelligent above a certain minimal level, that is. But McKinnon showed in investigating scientists, architects, engineers, and writers that those regarded by their peers as most creative were in no way whatsoever different in IQ from their less creative colleagues. So in what way were they different? That the most creative had simply acquired a facility for getting themselves into a particular mood, a way of operating, which allowed their natural creativity to function. In fact, McKinnon described this particular facility as an ability to play. Indeed, he described the most creative when in this mood as being childlike. For they were able to play with ideas, to explore them, not for any immediate practical purpose, but just for enjoyment. Play for its own sake. And we become fascinated by the fact that we can usefully describe the way in which people function at work in terms of two modes, open and closed. So what I can just add now is that creativity is not possible in the closed mode. Let me explain a little more. By the closed mode, I mean the mode that we are in most of the time when we're at work. We have inside us a feeling that there's lots to be done, and we have to get on with it if we're going to get through it all. It's an active, probably slightly anxious mode. It's a mode in which we're probably a little impatient, if only with ourselves. It has a little tension in it, not much humor. It's a mode in which we're very purposeful, and it's a mode in which we can get very stressed and even a bit manic, but not creative. By contrast, the open mode is a relaxed, expansive, less purposeful mode, in which we're probably more contemplative, more inclined to humor, which always accompanies a wider perspective, and consequently more playful. It's a mood in which curiosity for its own sake can operate, because we're not under pressure to get a specific thing done quickly. We can play, and that is what allows our natural creativity to surface.
Boy, that set me straight. Play and joy and humor are some of the most powerful portals through which your creativity comes. Yeah. I'm already feeling a little bit better and looser just from the joy and the play that brings out your freedom of expression, hence your creativity. And I think I could use a little cherry on top of all of that with some wisdom from our curly-haired Tao. Think about it. Whenever you're doing something that you love, you know, so much so where you lose track of time and you're just kind of someplace else, that is a really good moment, isn't it? And next time you fall into one of those moments, try to be aware of the fact that that's the real you performing at that moment. And the real us is the stuff that everyone wants. That's the gold. That's our secret sauce. So accessing that is key. Come back again next week. We'll get another helpful, wonderful uplift, another Shaboost. But until then, don't forget to live big and play hard. You can come to the Shaboo Prince website where we have oodles of goodness, not only for yourself, but to then share and pay it forward to others.